Thank you for coming to this episode. I think now you're going to be getting into some really exciting events. Some of it may shock you, some of it may intrigue you, some of it may interest you, some of it may appall you, some of it you may have question about. Anyhow, please hang in there with me, because if you're not a Muslim and you don't know about Islam, you don't know about our religious values, cultural values, maybe you'll have a lot of questions. Just it's important that you keep an open mind, and you're just watching a video to learn something, or maybe you're just watching a story. So just let it be that way. It's better, not to judge and let it unfold itself. I know up until now you have listened to me talking about my different paths, different religions I embraced, and last of which I spent quite a bit of time talking about Christianity and how that affected me really in a lot of positive way. And you may be asking me, Raya, what does that have to do with feminism? You didn't tell us about feminism. So I'm going to talk about that now. Some relation, and as I go along, move forward, I will express how that has affected me. So the Christian value is that God's value comes ahead of human or man-made values. They respect it, they try to adhere to it. And you can see how strongly I defend Christianity. So never mind the issue of the doctrine that basically took me away from Christianity, which was the issue of Trinity. Let's put that aside. The human value, the family value, the issue that is topic of my series, it's an issue of feminism. How feminism affects us in a positive or negative way. In Christianity, there is a clear distinction between roles of man and wife and the value of man and woman in general in spirituality. In spirituality, they both are seen as equal. Men and women are seen as equal. Their faith, their worship is basically, whether they're male or female, is basically, in the eyes of God, is looked at a similar issue. However, if we look at the past, all the way from the time of Jesus coming forward, we see the majority of Christian leaders, churches, pastors, priests, leaders of the nations, spiritual leaders of the nations, they were male. Let's just ask ourselves why they were male and not female. Were there female there at the time that were lower than male? No. It is because they try to adhere to God's principles. The most important task for a female is what? Is it for her to go out, preach the world while her children at home are being deprived of motherly love, motherly care? Her husband comes home, there's no food on the table, the house is a mess, but she's out there leading the people, even in a spiritual sense. I'm not talking about in the work field. Let's just use our common sense. Why don't we have Christian female leaders, many of them in the past? I'm not saying there aren't many. There are really fantastic. There are tons of books written, just a biography of these special female women that guided people. They really helped a lot in the growth of nations. And in fact, the church that I belonged to for so many years, the founder of it was Ellen G. White, was a woman, a very enlightened woman that really guided people even in the 1800s. That's where she lived. In fact, what she had talked about food and nutrition, what to eat, what not to eat, more than centuries ago, it is proven to be true today. And the Seventh-day Adventists are living by it today. So the reason why I'm saying is that there have been women leaders, spiritual leaders in the world. But the number of them are not so many. Okay, let us then have peace with this. Let's not argue with the whole world about women's role. Is it okay with you who are listening, you could be a male or female, is it okay with you for a woman to be a mother to raise her kids? to give security to her kids, balance in their lives. Let them feel when they come home, mother is there, food is there for them, their home is nicely clean, well maintained. The husband comes home, he's looked at like a king, she's like the queen of the house. Is there any problem with that? Does she have to go to work in order for her to feel some kind of a self-worth? Okay, I just want to say that I did about 20 years while I was in California. I talked with many women. It was like informal research. I was asking many women the same questions. Many of them happened to be divorced, and the criteria was that they had to have children, working women with children. And I found the majority of them felt that if they only stayed home and they were a mother or a wife, their self-worth was not nourished. Their value, they did not value themselves very highly. But if they were really, had a good position in a business field, had a high education, master's degree, PhD degree with other degrees, they felt better about themselves. I ask these questions: is this something that the society has imposed upon us so that we feel this way? Or is it something that God has told us this is how a woman should feel? The answer is clear. I don't have to tell you who said what. It is clear. Let us now bring the issue to the Muslim and Islam, Muslim society, Muslim women and Islam. When I came back to Islam, one of the things I noticed was a similarity between Muslims and Christians. Family coherence, family values, family sanctities. They were observed. They were respected. This, for me, it just gave me a really good feeling. I felt good to see that. I felt good to be part of the society. Same as I felt with the Christian families, that I stayed with them, that I lived with them, I studied with them. Everything that I did with them, it's because I felt sense of belonging. I started feeling the same way with the Muslims. The only difference was, I guess at this stage, was they were strictly monotheistic. Their prayer, their supplications went directly to God, which we say Allah, which is the same name for God. Directly to God, to Allah, to no other one but Him. Now there are some doctrinal issues and differences between Islam and Christianity that I'd like to talk about now.